So my kids have gotten super into Legos, and I thought it would be kind of fun to give them their own place to build. So I found this coffee table on Facebook Marketplace, and we are going to turn it into a custom Lego table. Okay, so now that I've got the table taken apart, the idea is to use these Lego boards and cover the top. Now, these are supposed to be 10 by 10 inches. So, I originally thought I could just cover the entire top of the table. However, that would take 9 of these boards, and it would lead to an excessive amount of cuts. And the reason for that is because when the table is assembled, the legs stick up just a little bit, which means I would not only have to cut the edges off to make it a square, but I would also have to notch all of this out and make it fit perfectly. Also, the colors that I plan to paint the table, the red for the top would only show on the very edge. So, instead of deciding to go with just the square that's inside these corners, I would leave a strip along the top where that red would pop a little bit better, and it makes it so I only have to make a square out of the Lego boards. So first we need to take the measurements of that internal square. And also verify the exact measurement of the Lego board. Unfortunately, the table is not square. It is 60.7 by 60.5 centimeters. And the Lego board is 25.6 by 25.6 centimeters. So just a little bit over that 10 inches. So the largest square I can make with the Lego boards without having overlap would be using 4 of them, which would give me a square that is 51.2 centimeters on all sides. Which means to get that 60.5, I'll need to add 9.3 centimeters on 2 sides. Okay, so unfortunately, looks like 9.3 centimeters puts me in the middle of one of these posts. So we're going to have to reduce that down just a little bit. If we go any bigger, we may end up with some overlap on the table, and we don't want that. So, see, 8.8 puts me right in between the posts, which would make for a much easier cut. All right, now that we've checked the Lego boards, and we know that we have to do 8.8 centimeters in order to get a decent cut between the posts. Now we know that our overall size is going to be 60 centimeters, which ain't bad. I like round numbers. All right, so in order to do that, to make it 60 centimeters on all sides, I'm going to have to add 5 pieces. 4 of which will be the 25.6 centimeters, but they're going to be by 8.8. And 1, this corner piece, is going to be 8.8 by 8.8. Sounds simple enough. Okay, so the last time I cut this, I just used a hacksaw blade. But since this is going to cover such a large surface area, I want my cuts to be as straight as possible. So I'm going to use the table saw so I can use my fence to make sure that all my cuts are exactly the width I want them and they stay as straight as possible. Okay, to clean up the edges, I'm going to use a 220 grit sandpaper to knock down the big burrs, and then a 500 grit to get it as smooth as I can, as close to that factory edge as I can, since this is going to be on the outside of the board and we'll be able to see it. So this table is pretty raw, but I'm going to go ahead and give all the surfaces that are going to take paint and adhesive a light sanding, just in case. At this point, after thoroughly cleaning all the sawdust and everything off, I proceeded to put about 4 coats of paint on each individual piece, followed by a couple of coats of clear coat on top of that. After giving the paint about a week to dry and fully cure, it was time to put the table back together. And of course, this being an Ikea table, it was quite a lengthy process. All right, so now I've got all the pieces laid out the way I want them. So I'm going to use smaller Lego pieces to stick them all together so they stay together. I'm going to tape off the perimeter so I can apply the adhesive and not get it out onto the red parts. So here I'm just giving everything a light sanding because the clear coat and paint is really slick, and I wanted to give the adhesive as good a chance as I could to adhere to it. I went with liquid nails, the construction adhesive, because it says it literally sticks to everything. Okay, moment of truth. It's been sitting clamped and waited for about a week. The glue says 4 to 6 hours to set, so it's as stuck can get. So let's see how she did. Oh no! Oh, looks like it'll come off pretty easy, which kind of doesn't bode well for the Legos stuck to it, but whatever. Let's get the clamps off. But it's flexible, so maybe that means the tape will be able to take it off pretty easy. Without messing up the paint. Painter's tape, shouldn't mess it up. So far, so good. No. Taking this out. Nope. A little bit of trimming that I'm going to need to do there. Looks like the liquid nails is flexible enough where I should be able to trim it and peel it up off of the plastic. So we'll get in there with something that's not going to scratch it up and try to get all that off. I mean, I think it turned out okay. I mean, you can just barely see the glue in just a couple of spots. I mean, that liquid nails, I mean, it cleaned up way easier than I thought it would from the plastic. So I hope it stuck good enough for the Lego board to stay on. If they peel up a little bit when the kids are playing with them, then maybe I'll revisit it and see if a different type of adhesive would work better. But I don't know, I think it turned out nice. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.